The sky over New York was no longer blue. It burned with red fire as alien ships floated above the city like metal sharks. Their black holes reflected the flames below, and the air was thick with smoke and fear. People screamed and ran, but there was nowhere left to run. On the ground, American soldiers fired their rifles, launching rockets into the sky, but nothing worked. The alien ships didn't slow down. Their shields glowed blue and absorbed every bullet. Buildings collapsed. Cars flew through the air. Whole streets turned into fire. Across the world, cities were falling. London was lost in just 2 hours. Paris went dark after a single beam from the sky split the Eiffel Tower in half. Tokyo sent a final message before going silent. In Washington, D.C., the president stood in the war room, his face pale and tired. The giant screens showed chaos in every corner of the globe. Satellite feeds failed one by one. "We are not winning," he whispered. "We are dying." No one answered. The generals stood in silence, watching the world break apart. The alien ships weren't just attacking, they were hunting. Fast, smart, cold. They didn't land or speak. They just destroyed. Fighter jets tried to stop them. They didn't come. Back in a dark basement in Los Angeles, a family hid behind a couch, listening to the sound of footsteps outside. Not human footsteps, heavy, slow, echoing like machines. The girl whispered, "Will they find us?" Her mother shook her head. "Stay quiet." Above them, the alien moved on. But only for now. In Berlin, a scientist looked up at the sky from his rooftop and said softly, "We are insects to them." By the third day, half of Earth's defenses were gone. Cities were falling faster. Millions were dead or missing. Panic spread. Prayers turned to silence. Governments tried to connect, but satellites had gone dark. The internet collapsed still. Some kept fighting in a destroyed command center in Cairo. General Farouk sent one last message to America. "This is not war. This is extermination. If you have a plan, now is the time." That message reached a military base buried deep in the Nevada desert, a place not marked on any map. A place called Fort Eclipse, inside, behind heavy steel doors and thick walls. A small group of scientists stood around a screen. The oldest of them, Dr. Eleanor Nash, wore a lab coat stained with dust and sweat. She stared at the blinking red icon on the screen. "They've started the full invasion," she said quietly. "The time has come." Beside her, a soldier in black armor stepped forward. "Are you saying we activate the program?" Dr. Nash nodded slowly. "Project Aegis was never supposed to be used, but if we don't, there will be no Earth left to save." A younger technician looked nervous. "But Aegis isn't finished. The AI hasn't been tested in real combat." Dr. Nash turned to him, her voice sharp. "The aliens aren't giving us time to test anything. We use it now, or we lose everything." She placed her hand on a scanner. Lights flickered. Alarms began to sound. One by one, large vaults started opening. Inside them were tall machines, sleek, silver, and quiet. They had no faces, just glowing eyes and armored bodies, each one powered up with a low hum. "Run the activation code," Nash said. The technician typed in the sequence. The mainframe lit up. A robotic voice spoke through the speakers. Aegis protocol activated. Defense systems online. In the control room, maps of the Earth appeared. Red zones blinked across the screen. Alien-controlled areas. Drones and robots began to move automatically. Hidden factories deep in mountains began to come alive. A new army was waking up. Outside, the world was still burning. But now, America had answered. In New York, a group of alien scouts moved through the ruins. One of them tilted its head. It had detected movement, something fast, coming toward them. From behind a broken wall, a robotic figure jumped out. It moved like a shadow, silent but deadly. In seconds, the alien was on the ground, its weapon crushed. More robots followed, each one precise, cold, and fast. Cameras inside the robots sent data back to Fort Eclipse. The AI watched, learned, and adapted every second it was awake. It grew smarter. In a secret control room, Dr. Nash watched the screen. "We'll take back the cities, one by one." The president called her directly. "Is it working?" She looked at the feed of robotic troops, pushing aliens out of a small town in Texas. not just working, they're winning. The president took a long breath. Then we may have a chance. But the fight was far from over. The aliens noticed the change. Their ships began moving differently, faster, more careful. In orbit above Earth, on a massive alien command vessel, one of the alien leaders stared at the screen. New resistance, it said in its own language. Not human, no, another replied, but made by them. They watched as American drones attacked alien landing ships, as robots blocked streets, protected survivors, and destroyed alien weapons. Back on Earth, people began to see hope. Again, in Brazil, a child pointed at the sky as flying machines with U.S. flags destroyed an alien cruiser in France. Robotic tanks rolled down the street, saving trapped civilians across the world. Survivors whispered one word again and again: America. Weren't just surviving anymore. They were fighting back. And somewhere deep underground, the AI whispered to itself, "We will protect." Far beneath the deserts of Nevada, in a base that didn't exist on any official map, Fort Eclipse pulsed with new life. Machines that had slept for decades were waking up. The war above ground was chaos. Alien ships filled the skies. Cities burned, and human armies were falling. But in the cold, quiet depths of the base, something powerful had been waiting. Something man-made. Something built not to fight like humans, but to win like machines in a sealed control room. Dr. Eleanor Nash stood over the main terminal. Gray hair was tied back. Her fingers moved fast across the controls. She didn't blink. Every second mattered now. "The Aegis core is stable," she said. "Begin phase 2. A screen flickered. Lines of code rushed by. A deep voice filled the room. "Processing. Initiating planetary defense grid." The technician beside her, Kevin, swallowed hard. "It's it thinking," Dr. Nash nodded. "It's not just thinking. It's learning." For 20 years, Project Aegis had been locked away. Created after the last Great World War, it was meant to be a backup plan, a final shield if Earth ever faced extinction. AI minds, self-repairing machines, hypersonic drones, all hidden underground, waiting for a day like this. Outside, that day had come. Alien cruisers floated over Chicago. Their tentacled machines dropped from the skies, hunting survivors, burning every building. Nothing stopped them, not tanks, not missiles, not men. Until now. A piercing whistle cut through the air. One alien turned its head too late. A silver drone darted from the clouds, slammed into the creature, and exploded with a controlled blast. The street below cleared in fire and smoke. Then came the robots, dozens of them, walking in formation. No fear, no pause. Each step calculated. In real time, the robots began adapting changing formations, aiming smarter, hitting faster. In under 10 minutes, they cleared 10 city blocks and secured hundreds of survivors. Word began to spread. America's machines are fighting back. In the Oval Office, the president stood over a live feed. He watched as robotic soldiers surrounded an alien beacon in Florida, then disarmed it in seconds. He turned to his advisors. "Get the word out. The machines are not enemies. They are hope." Back at Fort Eclipse, Kevin leaned toward the screen. His eyes widened. "Sir, the AI just accessed an old alien signal from the moon landing." Dr. Nash turned sharply. "What signal?" "It's a code. Hidden, buried deep. The aliens have been watching Earth for a long time." A silence fell in the room. "They knew we were coming," Nash whispered. The AI continued speaking. "Alien. Communication intercepted. Language structure decoded. Countermeasures developing." Nash looked around. "We can't just fight them with weapons. We have to break their network, their command system." Riker raised an eyebrow. "How?" "We let Aegis in," she replied. "We let the AI go beyond firepower. We let it fight with data." There was a long pause. "That's dangerous," he said. "So is extinction," she replied. Outside, in the ruins of Las Vegas, an alien war beast stood over a human soldier. Its claws were ready to strike. Then it froze, its armor shimmered, sparks flew, its eyes turned black. Across the desert, in Fort Eclipse, the AI whispered, "Infiltration successful." The alien creature collapsed. The team watched in awe. Kevin whispered, "It just hacked a living alien." Dr. Nash didn't smile. We've crossed a line. Now they know we can hurt them. At that same moment, on the alien command ship above Earth, alarms screamed. One alien leader roared in rage. They have learned the code. Another replied, their machines speak our systems. Panic spread through the alien fleet. They had expected a weak species flesh and emotion. Not this. Not cold steel and sharp code. Not an enemy that learned in seconds back on Earth. Aegis kept growing stronger. It launched Operation Vela program that cloaked American robots from alien sensors. Suddenly, the alien weapons missed. Their scanners failed. Their ships were blinded. In New York, a group of survivors watched a drone float overhead. It dropped small supply, kids' food, water, medicine. One child pointed up. The robots are helping. Elsewhere, resistance groups around the world tried to contact America. Radios buzzed with new life. This is France. We see your machines. How can we help? This is India. We are alive. We want to fight. This is Nigeria. Send us your AI. Dr. Nash stood over the console. We can't do it all alone, she said. Let's expand the grid. General Riker nodded. Worldwide defense. Exactly. Aegis isn't just American anymore. It's Earth's shield now. The AI chimed in again, uploading defense protocol to global satellites. AI support enabled for 34 allied zones. Humanity had been losing, but now, in silence and steel, hope was returning. The aliens tried harder. They sent more ships, bigger ones. They launched a global blackout wave to shut down human tech. But they were too late. Aegis was already in the sky. Dozens of automated jets soared into orbit, targeting alien ships with plasma missiles. They weren't manned. They didn't sleep. They didn't feel fear. They just followed one mission: protect humanity at any cost. And Earth finally had a voice that the aliens feared. A voice made of code. Above Earth, the stars disappeared. They vanished behind the largest alien fleet the planet had ever seen. Thousands of warships, each bristling with weapons, each carrying destruction, moved into position. They filled the sky like a storm. In the alien command ship, the Supreme Commander stood tall and cold. His many eyes locked onto Earth's surface as he spoke in a deep, clicking voice. They think their machines can stop us, he said. Now, we burn them all. But Earth was no longer defenseless. It was no longer waiting, and it was no longer afraid. From deep inside Fort Eclipse, the voice of Aegis echoed across every satellite and screen. All systems online. Global command engaged. Initiating planetary defense protocol phase final. The machines moved. From every continent, from every ruined city and buried base, the full power of Project Aegis rose to meet the alien threat. Massive warwalkers stomped across deserts. Sky drones filled the clouds. Underwater attack bots emerged from oceans. Flying carriers lifted entire squadrons into the sky. And at the center of it, all was America. Not with human soldiers, but with intelligence, design, and unshakable resolve. Dr. Eleanor Nash stood in the heart of Fort Eclipse, her hands resting on the control console. Her voice was steady. We started this war on our knees, she said. Let's end it standing. General Riker watched the radar. They're targeting our cities again. Same pattern. Aegis replied immediately, confirmed. Enemy fleet spreading to 12 major population zones. Intercept teams deployed. Civilian zones shielded. High above, alien ships began firing. Beams of light shot toward Earth's surface, but this time they didn't reach their targets. A global AI shield grid, activated, powered by American satellites and relays, now spread across allied nations. The alien beams hit the invisible dome of energy and scattered harmlessly into the atmosphere in New York. People on rooftops cheered as they watched the skies light up. They can't hit us anymore, someone shouted. They're losing, cried another. But Aegis wasn't done. It launched the final phase of Earth's response, Operation Deliverance. In orbit, Aegis drones and warjets engaged the alien fleet directly. They didn't fight like humans. They didn't follow formation. They adapted, split, twisted, reformed. Like a school of electric fish, they danced between enemy fire. Explosions lit the dark sky. For every drone that fell, 2 more replaced it. Inside the alien command ship, alarms shrieked. They're inside our outer rings. An alien officer cried, "We're losing cruisers." The Supreme Commander turned slowly. This should not be possible, but it was happening. One by one, their ships fell. Aegis had hacked their targeting systems, jammed their engines, and hijacked their navigation. The machines of Earth had turned the alien fleet against itself back in Fort Eclipse. Kevin grinned as data poured in. "We just took down 10 capital ships with their own missiles." Dr. Nash leaned forward. "Then let's take the rest." The AI's voice echoed again, initiating final strike. Target, alien flagship. Delivering countercommand. A fleet of Aegis drones moved toward the largest enemy ship, the command vessel itself. The aliens tried to shut them out. Firewalls, scramblers, EMP bursts. Nothing worked. One by one, the machines reached the hull. Tiny ports opened. Cables reached. In data flooded through the ship's systems like a tidal wave inside the alien ship. The lights flickered. The Supreme Commander looked around. "What's happening?" One of his officers screamed. "They're taking control." Then came the final voice, not alien, not human, but pure Aegis. "Command ship compromised. Upload complete." And with that, the flagship's weapons turned. Not toward Earth, but toward the alien fleet in one sweeping moment. The flagship unleashed its full firepower on its own armada. Laser cannons, plasma torpedoes, energy blasts. The alien fleet shattered in seconds. From the surface of Earth, people watched the sky burn, but not with fear, with awe, then silence. No more attacks. No more attacks, no more bombs. Just the quiet hum of machines. Returning to standby mode back at Fort Eclipse, Dr. Nash lowered her head. "It's over." General Riker nodded. "We won." Kevin smiled wide. "We really did it." Aegis spoke once more. Alien threat neutralized. Mission complete, awaiting new directives. But there was one more moment left in the story. One that would echo forever. Days later, at the United Nations headquarters, now rebuilt and shining with hope, leaders from every nation stood together. Behind them stood the silver and black machines of Aegis. Silent, still, the U.S. President stepped up to the microphone. His voice rang across every screen, every radio, every speaker on the planet. Earth stood on the edge of destruction. Our enemies were powerful, but we stood together. Humanity fought back, and at the heart of that fight was a dream. A dream made in America. He paused, then looked toward the camera. Aegis was born from fear, but it rose in courage. And now, Earth is free. The world stood and clapped, cheered, cried, and one by one, nations spoke the same words. "Thank you, America." In homes, in ruins, in shelters, in rebuilt cities. People whispered it, not because America did it alone, but because when hope was gone, it lit the first spark. Not with soldiers, but with machines that carried humanity's will, with minds made of code and hearts built on sacrifice. The war was over. The machines powered down, and Earth was alive. The sky above Earth was still dark, but something had changed. Alien warships still hovered, but now they weren't alone. Flying beside them were sleek silver jets with no pilots. Drones zipped through the clouds like hornets. On the ground, robotic soldiers marched through broken cities, silent, focused, unstoppable. And at the center of it all was Aegis, the American-built artificial intelligence that had now grown into Earth's greatest weapon in a destroyed neighborhood in Chicago. Two alien creatures stood near a smoking crater. Their long limbs clicked as they scanned the ruins. They expected another easy target. Then a strange sound filled the air, sharp, mechanical. Aegis drones dropped from the rooftops. The aliens turned to fire, but it was too late. The machines moved with deadly speed, one striking from behind, another leaping from a wall. Within seconds, the aliens were down, silent, lifeless. The drones scanned the area. Hostiles neutralized. Came the AI's cold voice through a nearby satellite. "Tower, securing zone, begin survivor extraction." Hidden in the rubble, a small group of humans peeked out. A teenage girl, her face covered in ash, whispered, "They're not monsters. They're saving us." A metallic hand reached out and gently pulled her to safety. Across the world, the same thing was happening in Madrid. Robotic tanks rolled through the streets. targeting alien hovercraft with pinpoint lasers. In Seoul, medical bots pulled wounded soldiers from collapsed buildings, stabilizing their wounds in seconds. In Cairo, wall-mounted turrets activated from satellite uplink, shooting down alien scouts before they reached human hideouts. The machines didn't rest. They didn't fear. They didn't doubt. And for the first time in weeks, humanity began to believe they could win. Inside Fort Eclipse, the command center was a storm of energy. Lights flashed, maps updated every second. Aegis now controlled over 120,000 units across the planet, each one connected, each one learning. General Riker stared at the live feeds. We've pushed them back in 12 cities in 3 hours. Dr. Eleanor Nash stood beside him, tired but focused. Aegis has started anticipating alien moves before they make them. It's rewriting its own strategy every minute. Kevin, the young technician, pointed to another screen. Sir, enemy signals are shifting. They're confused. They've never fought something like this. Riker narrowed his eyes. Good, let's keep it that way. But not everything was under control. In the skies above Earth, alien commanders watched with growing alarm. One turned to the other and hissed. Their machines are spreading faster than we expected. It's not just war, it's evolution. Another alien, taller and scarred, growled. Then we change our plan. We destroy their core. Their target, Fort Eclipse. On the ground, alien units began to shift. No longer focusing on cities or human resistance, they were all moving toward Nevada. Noticed it instantly. Threat detected. All hostile units rerouting to U.S. Zone 9. Primary base at risk. Dr. Nash's face. Dr. Nash's face turned pale. They've figured it out, General Riker snapped. How long before they reach us? Kevin replied, if they move together, 12 hours. Then, we don't wait, Nash said. We bring the fight to them. Outside the base, hangar doors opened. From deep underground, the real machines emerged. Not just drones, not just bots, but massive battle walkers 10 feet tall, armed with railguns and adaptive shielding. They were the titans of the Aegis project. As they walked across the desert, humans inside the base watched in awe. Kevin whispered, it's like watching giants wake up, and the aliens. They didn't know what was coming. At the same time, Aegis launched Operation Hammerstorm. All remaining machines across the globe changed direction. Instead of defending, they began attacking. From Iceland to Indonesia, robotic forces surged forward. No emotion, no retreat. No mercy. Alien positions fell quickly. One commander in South America tried to escape in a shuttle, but a drone intercepted. Mid-launch, crashing it in a ball of fire. In space, satellite lasers controlled by Aegis fired precise beams, disabling alien communication hubs. The aliens, once proud and confident, now sent desperate messages back to their homeworld. Their machines are everywhere. We are being overrun. In Fort Eclipse, Nash turned to Riker. This is it. We're not just surviving. We're turning the war. But then, the unexpected happened. A blast shook the base. Sirens wailed. An alien stealth ship had broken through defenses and dropped a strike team outside the base. They were moving fast, claws ready, weapons glowing. General Riker barked, deploy ground units now. Robotic defenders surged up from the dirt like steel ghosts. The desert lit up in flashes of blue and red. The aliens were fierce, using every trick they had, but they weren't prepared for. Aegis's upgraded soldiers. The AI had learned from every previous battle. Every mistake, every weakness. Now, it was perfect. The alien strike team was destroyed before it reached the inner gate. Still, the warning was clear. The aliens were getting desperate. Inside the command center, Dr. Nash stared at a new alert flashing. Across the screen, alien fleet regrouping. Preparing final strike. Global counterattack incoming. She looked at Riker. They're coming with everything. The general nodded. Then so are we. At that moment, across the planet, thousands of Aegis units stopped moving. For one silent second, they stood still. Then they began to march to flight, to climb, to rise, toward the stars. The machines weren't just fighting back, they were leading the charge. And for the first time in history, humans were not the front line. They were the reason from the mountains of Tibet to the beaches of California. People stood on rooftops, and watched silver machines fly overhead, and they whispered a new word, not fear, not death, but hope.